I want to welcome all of you to the IMD Book Club. I'm very enthusiastic about what we're going to discuss today. I have known Luc de Brabandere for 20 years. We have worked together, and Luc has been really important in my teaching, and before that, when I was a consultant. And I'll spend a little bit time just so you get to know Luc, and then we will get to know Luc's thinking and the book as we go. So Luc has been through professionally many steps. First step, I would call it the manager engineer. Then the next step in BCG, where we worked together. For many years, Luc was a partner in BCG, and not the typical partner, an intellectual partner, I would say, creative thinker as somebody who could contribute the ideas into what we did. And then gradually coming out of that, I think you have been and you are now a natural corporate philosopher. And corporate philosopher, we have to ask you about that in a second. But before I do, I just want to say welcome to this discussion, Luc. I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks for your invitation.
No, this is wonderful. So I'm not sure whether how many corporate philosophers there are real ones in the world, but it doesn't really matter because they're all unique. And I want to start with this question to you, Luc. What is, for you, what does it mean to be a corporate philosopher?
If you look at a company, you can notice two different worlds. One with numbers, accounting, energy, computer, numbers. And if you want to achieve rigor with numbers, we just have to decide. But there is another world within the same company where you don't have any numbers, like communication, for example. You say, we should better communicate. Everybody will agree. But how do you manage that? And are you rigorous when you don't have numbers? This is the way I define corporate philosophy.
And what is the role of a corporate philosopher? What is your practice?
My practice is trying to achieve rigor with no numbers. For example, in fact, I remember I bike a lot.
Yes.
And I remember one day I asked my doctor, how fast can I bike without taking any risk? He told me I can give you three answers. Number one, not too fast. Bullshit. Number two, no more than 145 heartbeats a minute. It's not bullshit, but hard to manage.
Yeah.
And he told me, I'll give you a criteria. You do what you want, but at any time you should be able to talk to people you bike with. This is philosophy. Rigor, no bullshit, but no numbers.
Okay.
So I try a criteria. In the toolbox of a corporate philosopher, you have two main things: definitions. Stop confusing innovation, creativity, and regulation, reglementation, and so on. Now, definitions and criteria. When somebody comes with an idea without number, we should do this, better communicate. Let's take example. Okay, fine. I may not judge, but tell me how a year, 2 years from now, you can tell and prove and show I'm better on communication. Rigor with no numbers.
Okay. And I think we'll get back to it. And the whole discussion will be about this, how to make sense of the corporate world. And I think that's really what you do. We are here to talk about this. So this book, The Art of Thinking in the Digital World. It's your book, Luc, and it's a coming together of many, many years of work. You wrote the book with Lina Ben Meres
From Morocco.
from Morocco, and Jonas Leider from Belgium.
Yeah.
And the book is a little bit like a synthesis, pushing a bit further on many of these ideas, and we will get to all of them. But what does this book mean for you, Luc?
Many thanks. It's like a summary of my work. It's my course when I teach. This is a course. It's a bit my legacy. It's my claim. It's a lot. and it's divided into three pieces: be logical, be creative, be critical, and the three chapters of my life. The first 20 years, I was an engineer in a bank with computer and logic. The second, I became creative guy with you at BCG, creative thinking. And now for the last 10 years, I became grandfather and teacher, so more in the critical thinking. So it's all together. It's my legacy.
It's your legacy. And just so we put this into a little bit of a timeline, this is your 22nd book. And I know you're already working on the 23rd, maybe even the 24th. I kind of understood yesterday. So this is kind of...
In fact, you don't write books, you get rid of books.
You have books in you, and then they happen. Absolutely. Okay, wonderful. And I love the book. I think all of you have probably seen it with this picture of Luc with the iPhone in your face. Explain to us the front page, Luc. I'll put it here, but you can do it as well.
I live where Magritte was born. And for 50 years, I've seen this picture. This is not a pipe. Ceci n'est pas une pipe. And for 50 years, I said, of course, this is not a pipe. But one day I said, wow, this is really very powerful because it's exactly the world we live in. Accounting is not the finance. The market segmentation is not the market, etc., etc. And so I started with Magritte as an entrance, as a key to dig a bit my topic. And Magritte told, I'm not a painter who thinks, I'm a thinker who explains things through painting. I love it. And it's a Belgian. So.
Of course, it's a Belgian. A big, important Belgian. The book is not just called The Art of Thinking. That could very well be the title. It's called The Art of Thinking in a Digital World. So it brings us into today and tomorrow, very much into today and tomorrow. And my first question to you, Luc, is, and I think it's right in here. So your thoughts around thinking in the world we are today, are we at the risk of thinking less or less well with all the tools and all the things that now come up? What's the status of thinking?
We are definitely at risk. But my claim is that what's happening now with AI is a reason to think more and definitely not to think less. I'm coming from the creative world, and very often I hear you should think differently. No, what you do is fine, but it's not enough. And the title of the book, The Art of Thinking, a piece of thinking is not a science. There is a kind of, somehow it's an art. So you will never imitate thinking with an algorithm. There are pieces you will never reach with an algorithm. So we have to become the artist of thinking. That's the message. And then you can go different in the three different areas: logic, critic, and creative. But what's interesting, and when you're a philosopher, you all very often use this. It's not completely different. Thinking, my father, my grandfather, they were also thinkers. So how and why is it different? And then slowly you can dig for example, a value. What's a value? You have values, I have value, IMD has values. My definition of value is an idea you have that something should. That's my definition. Well, probably my father, my grandfather. So this piece of thinking is probably exactly the same. But the way you translate the value into action is probably today completely different. And that's a bit, my job is not what people should think. Absolutely not. I talk to people I don't know. My job is to explain how we think. And the better you understand the engine of thinking, I'm sure the better you have great idea for you and for your family and for your business.
And then I have to go straight into what everybody is thinking about, probably as you answer the question, and today in general is AI. So clearly AI is kind of more powerful by the day, incredibly impressive. We use it, etc. There's a lot of anxiety around it. Enthusiasm, yes, anxiety as well. There are doomsayers saying that, okay, people are less needed. So my question to you is really this: in this world where the tools and everything around us explodes, what's our role and what's going to happen? What are our opportunities as humans in this?
Let's start with this. It's not rational to be 100% rational. If you want to go on holiday, if you want to define a strategy, give up 100% rationality. Let's take a very simple example. You write a novel, 300 pages. This is good. And then say, which is the best title for this book? You go into ChatGPT, hello, here's the book. Which is the best title for the book? Probably, and that's very useful. So some connections and patterns. ChatGPT, I didn't thought about that. And thanks to the machine, you will probably go to your title. The last mile is give up rationality. That's what we call inshallah in Morocco. You give up. You cannot choose a title for a novel with 100% rational reasoning. So piece of reasoning will always be human.
And that's our opportunity.
To me, yeah, definitely. And our responsibility, both.
Yes.
The two limits to me is exactly that. Creativity. A machine cannot go out of his own program. And secondly, responsibility. But those are very different because creativity is impossible for technical reason. Responsibility is not possible for philosophical reason. I don't want to assign a machine some responsibilities. This is my point of view as a human being. So the two limits are very different and described in the,
Yeah, super. And I want to go a little bit into, the title, as we know, The Art of Thinking. So let's go a little bit into thinking and apply it to AI. So one thing you spend a lot of time outlining is the difference between deduction, as we know it, and induction.
Yeah.
So if you take induction and you take deduction and you apply that to AI as we know it today, how far will AI take us?
Nobody knows, but not to the end. That I repeat
Yeah.
So I really like the metaphor of thinking it's a game. When I teach, when I work with corporate, I say, hey, we're going to play together. Like any other game, you have rules. So let's start with the rules of thinking. A lot of people lose their time simply because they don't respect the rules of thinking. And I can, not now, but in the book, I list like 12 different rules. For example, one rule, and we go back to Magritte. You never have here what's out there. Never, ever. Let's take a market segmentation. But you have 3 million clients. In your mind, you have 7, 8, 10, 12 segments. And very useful. Let's take student as a segment. You can use the idea of student, the concept of student, to deduce some commercial action, definitely. But where does the concept of student come from? A student doesn't exist. You cannot tell me where he or she lives. It doesn't exist. Those are abstraction. So thinking is mostly about simplifying the world and using those simplifications. That's it. So using the simplifications is good for machine. They can do everything much better than you. But there is no science of simplification. Why 7 colors in the rainbow? You can have 8, 9, 10 colors. The 7 looks okay, useful. If you open your mind, your skull, look inside, you will notice you only have simplifications of everything. Let's take memory, for example. If I ask you, describe me the day you turn 18 years old. You don't have clear picture. I was there and he was there, she wasn't there. So it's fuzzy, it's blurry. It's a simplification. A stereotype is a simplification. A value is a strategy. Every single item here is a simplification. And there is no science of simplification. Imagine somebody, and that's a novel from José Luis Borges, Haanaes ou la mémoire, Haanaes or memory. The idea of a cowboy. And he's on his horse, and one day hits a rock. And suddenly he has an infinite memory. And comes, will go back on a journey, comes back, and a friend, hey, Funes, you back? How was your journey? And Funes doesn't answer. Hey, Ali, you've been there. Tell me how it was. He doesn't answer. Why? Because he
can't
cannot
answer.
answer. Why? Because he remembers everything.
Yes.
An infinite memory would prevent you from thinking. Definitely. And there is no signs of forgetting. If people at the end of the 45 minutes, time goes so fast. In 25 minutes, people will leave us with what? 2, 3, 4 ideas, but they don't control what they're going to remember. And probably among the people here, people won't remember the same thing because there is an interaction. If you have a passion for this topic, you remember or not, etc., etc. So, and that's why I love this job so much, because there is no science of thinking. And we have to put, like you said, the emphasis, all our efforts to the little artistic part of thinking. Voilà,
that's our delta. That's our alpha. That's where human difference.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the human difference forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. Super. I'm going to move us a little bit. One of the things, as you know very well, Luc, that has clarified things to me is your idea of change. So we are used to thinking about change. Change is from A to B, etc. But you go beyond that, because you talk about any kind of change means changing twice.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask you to just clarify it, talk a little bit about it, maybe give us an example or two as well.
Definitely. The way I came to this change topic was a bit by accident. My topic was creativity, and still is creativity. That's really my life. And finally, my ultimate privilege, I turned my passion into a hobby, into a job. Sorry, my hobby into a job. But so creativity is my passion. So I become a philosopher. I need a definition. What is creativity? And I say, it's the way you have, if you go on everywhere, you have dozens of definitions.
Of course.
And none of them were, to me, really satisfying. And then, I don't know why, I changed the way, the point of view. I say, the problem is to change. And in fact, when you talk about change, you see two different things. You can change things, and you can change the way you look at things. This is completely different. And slowly, I came with the definition. Innovation is the capacity to change things. Creativity is the capacity to change the way we look at things. But, and that was the question, you need both. Imagine somebody always late. What is change for him? Being on time. But being on time is not only the reality of going faster and of less meeting. No. Also to change. Hey, being on time, this is fantastic. You have to change what you think about punctuality. And to change is to change twice. We both work a lot on merging company A, company B, becoming company C. But very often you go into company C and what do you hear? But he's an XA, she's an XB. As long as you have XA or XB, C doesn't exist. And this claim to change is to change twice is really, to me, unlocked everything. I came with definition of creativity and innovation, and immediately you can see, hey, you can have creativity without innovation. Let's take Copernic, great creative mind. Look at the solar system today, exactly like it was before Copernic. Nothing has changed in the solar system. Pure creativity, a bit like science. But you can have innovation without creativity. Imagine department stores closing at 4 p.m. For years and years, 4 p.m. And they decide we're going to close at 6 p.m. You don't need 4 hours brainstorm. But I'll tell you, it's a big thing to change that. And we need to be new in the corporate world, better than Copernic. We need, on one hand, to change the way we look at the world, and then going into innovation. So Voilà.
No, I think it's super useful in any kind of discussion around change, transformation, uh, mobilizing an organization to move into a direction. And I want to ask you a little bit about this. You said the human delta, so what humans can do. Talk a little bit about as an observer, but also participant in many ways. How should we, all of the participants, me, all of us, uh, think about setting aspirations? Aspirations for the company, aspirations for us as individuals. How can we work on setting aspirations, Luke?
I would thinking about the future of the company is not one topic. It's made of three topics. It's about thinking, it's about the future, and it's about the company. And one of the tip I would give is split your challenge in three pieces. First, remember what is to think with the rules, the weakness, the strengths. Then the future, how you can think about the future. Ah, yes, uncertainty, and you have different, and you do that so often. And then and only then to talk about the company. Because imagine I'm working for company A, and somebody asks me, you should think about the future of A. Immediately you are in A. No, what is to think? What is the future? And then and only then you go into company A. And so this is pure philosophy. Philosophy is about the rigor in thinking with no number. That's the way I started. And I'm a bit like a gym professor. So my first job 50 years ago, I was teaching mathematics. And when you teach mathematics, what do? You transfer some kind of knowledge, and you put, and then happy at the end of the day when the student can do what you can do in the morning. When you teach philosophy the way I do now, you don't transfer any knowledge. There is no knowledge. I transfer passion, energy, whatever, but no knowledge. And I make a way in such a way people think more.
And I think one thing I take away from the book, but of course also from our discussions, Luke, is thinking is good, but it's also a bit of a trap because once we're in a way of thinking, it's difficult, even though it's intellectually easy to understand, we can get out of it. It's difficult to get out of it. We're trapped by the knowledge, by the way we see things, by the way, whatever the company is, etc. So what are some of the ways to get out of the trap, think in new ways? Because we all see the value of it, but how would you suggest we go about it?
First of all, to be aware of the trap. I know people not conscious about the existence of traps. So the first step is really to be aware. Kahneman and Tversky produced an incredible book, the Thinking Fast and Slow, and this 20-year effort, one message: you're not as rational as you think. That was the message.
Absolutely.
They were awarded the Nobel Prize in economy for two psychologists. This is quite funny. So important. So you're not as rational as you think. You have traps, bias, or shortage. And that's step number one. Oh, yeah, we all tend to believe easily what we hope to be true. If I tell you Sunday is going to be sunshine, yes.
I want
if
that
I
to be
tell
true,
you
exactly.
Sunday is going to rain, you say, Ma, they are
Not
so
sure,
often
yeah.
wrong, so often wrong. And this work of Kahneman and Tversky with many, many authors afterwards is really, with one message: you're not as rational. That's the step number one. And we don't have the time to think completely rational. We always go fast. And we have shortcuts. Cognitive bias is the price we pay to the speed. Sometimes it would be possible to avoid the trap, but it would take so much time so you have to take risk, but maybe be more conscious of. And I recommend, I have some examples in my book, but they all come from Kahneman and else. It's so powerful as a method. And if you're not 100% rational, it means you will always be human. And voila, that's my answer.
And I can relate to it. I'm sure everybody here can relate to it. Things go faster and faster. So we are pushed into this reality of trying to make decisions on the go. And that's thinking fast, of course. Thinking slow is much more demanding. Nobody will help us do it. We have to step back, give it time. We have to choose where to go, etc. How do you suggest, well, maybe not suggest, how do you think slow? Let me ask you instead of asking you to tell us.
I really enjoy thinking. I really have a joy of thinking. Just talking to you and the discussion we had before to prepare, I really enjoy. And a lot of joy is possible thinking then when you understand the rules properly. For example, let's take, not a single idea in this planet is born good. No example. If you want a good idea, you have to accept a two-steps process. The first step is a new idea, and then with a yes and attitude, maybe you're going to reach the good idea. With yes but, you go back to this. Just a simple rule. You could avoid many troubles in meeting. I come with a new idea and you tell me this is not a good idea. Of course, it's not new because it's new. It's new. Let's just this. And then you can, when you respect the rules, you really start enjoying the libido cendi from Saint Augustine. That's really what I try to transmit.
And I'm going to take us a little bit into the thinking, but I just also want to encourage anybody who wants to ask a question. We see the chat. If you want to ask, please send it in, and I will make sure we discuss it with Luc. I want to build. Okay, I'll take the question and I'll come back to it. Is thinking not just making a summary of information in an organized way? Isn't AI very good at using unorganized information and make sense of it? Thank you for the question. That's a great question.
In A, what do you say exactly? In A, organize the last.
Isn't AI very good at using unorganized information and make sense of it?
Somehow, yes. And because you are forced to simplify, to organize, you are forced. And go back to the example of the title of the book, with such a power into connecting things together, of course, they will come with so many ideas that the probability is high, you will decide for a better idea. Another rule, the best way to have a good idea is to have many ideas. That's another rule of the game. So at having many ideas, AI,
we can't beat AI.
Yeah. But the last mile is not from the AI, it's from you. You cannot decide as the machine go until the end. Where should we go to restaurant tonight? You go ChatGPT, hello. Okay, you could go there, but fine. Okay, let's go there. And that's when we are human.
Okay, thank you. Now it's great. I'm getting lots of questions, which is super. So now I'll pick this one. What is the role of a philosopher in an AI world?
The same.
You ask much better questions than me.
The same.
Yes.
The same. Because philosopher is trying to organize thinking. My role, definitely in the business, is to clarify. I'll give you an example. Last year, I was appointed by a CEO of a company. Say, "Oh, AI! Everybody's talking about AI in my business. I even don't know where to start." That was his one. So we had the day together, and at the end of the day, Luc, I'm happy. We are still nowhere, but now I know where I'm going to start. That's such a gift for me. Clarifying. And philosophy is about making things more clear. That's it. And so the role is not different today. The material we use is different, but our point of view, our attitude is the same. It's clear. And Descartes, in his book, Les idées claires et distinctes, clear and distinct ideas. When I read that 20 years ago, of course, no, this is super powerful. clear and distinct ideas. Creativity is not innovation. Luxury is not comfort. Education is not pedagogy, etc., etc.
Super. Thank you. And if you want follow-ups, just send it in, okay? I'm gonna go to the next question. So when does a new idea become good? That's good.
When you
That's-
give up
That's a little
rationality.
bit like your speed on the bicycle, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, there is no science. It becomes good depending on the context.
I
And
love the
when
question.
you give up rationality, it becomes good when you, human being, decide this is a good idea, but you're not sure. Imagine the CEO with a new strategy. Say one day, okay, I go. It's impossible to be 100% sure the strategy is a winning strategy, but
Yeah.
that's responsibility.
Yeah.
I take the risk. I know this is not 100% guaranteed, but I'm the boss. That's what I do.
Okay.
And,
Yeah. Super.
there is a question on system thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to that now.
Yeah.
Systems thinking or complexity science? Digital world with humans.
Yeah.
These are
Yeah.
big topics, huh?
I'm a child of system thinking. So I did my thesis at university on cybernetics, von Neumann and Alan Turing, and this is John Nash. This is really my word. And the power of system thinking, it connects together. It connects together, and complexity, Edgar Morin, I know a lot. And in fact, this was a powerful message. Beware, things are not that easy. The difference is not complicated, it's complex, etc. And so we are just the next step of complexity. So what the system thinking has brought to us is still relevant, but should be customized but it helps. All the time I'm using system thinking, connecting dots, and
And how do you think about because I feel the question also brings up the whole idea of complexity, right? Complexity science. So on the one hand, we can deal with more complexity than before. On the other side, as you said, we have to simplify, clarify.
Yeah. I would say in the end, simplicity is subjective. Let's take this. Is this a simple object or not? Is this complex? You can say it's going to be simple. Oh, wait a minute. You know how it's made for? It's not paper, and I can talk 2 hours just about the complexity of this cup. But you decide this is simple. And so simplicity is not a given thing. One day
it's not an absolute. It's simple. Now it's complex.
No. But so simplicity is something you first decide it's important. You decide no, this is, and then you try to convince people. Look at the homepage of Google, and this is a boom, 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 boom. Is this simple? Oh yes, it is. Simple? Can you imagine what's behind? But people tend to say, oh, this is simple.
Yes.
And that's a good example. So, and there is a responsibility to make things simple.
Yeah.
But simplicity is not a given thing. It's not an attribute like heavy or like, no, it's something one day you decide. And really important to make simple thing, to clarify, etc. But you know that simplicity, you can forget the truth. A simplification is never true. Very important.
It's a choice.
If it's a choice and a decision. If you open your mind here, you only have, I told, simplification. It means not a single thing here is true. True doesn't exist in your mind. Everything here is an hypothesis. What's an idea? An idea in the business is a working hypothesis. It allows you to do a lot of things, but it remains an hypothesis. Other ideas are possible.
Super. I have 3 more questions. The last one is, of course, the last question I'll have to ask you. So we'll get to it. So the next question, chat, is very interesting topic. Thinking fast, thinking slow reminds me of the saying, harebrained, tortoise, so the tortoise, mind. So is this thinking slow more intuition based? Oh, that's, yeah. Wow. Slow intuition. Okay, that's a nice link to make, right?
Kahneman is he died not so long ago.
Yes.
He was a psychologist first as well. So Their view of the problem is made by the eyes of psychology. I'm absolutely not a psychologist. I'm a philosopher. So I see completely in the same world. I see the world like I am. Like if you look at people who study thinking, nearly all of them came up in the end with a two-stroke engine. Right brain, left brain, divergence, convergence, lateral, vertical, yin, yang, many. They're all fast, slow. I use explore. I use induction, deduction. So we have one thing in common, even if we have different perspective, we all come up with a two-stroke engine. Means probably so. But fast and logic is not, if I make 2 and 2, 4, this is fast thinking, but it's logic. So you cannot match exactly the model. And that's why they are useful. It's because thinking through the eyes of Kahneman are not the same as somebody else, that both are useful, but nobody is true. Kahneman is not true. I'm not true. Nobody's true. We all tend to be useful in clarifying things.
Super, thank you. Now I'm going to go to the next one. As the AI evolves, as the AI evolve the human of tomorrow, okay? The human of tomorrow, would the human of tomorrow still have the same attitude and thinking of the human of today? Oh, wow, that's a big one. Because we influence the tools, but the tools influence us. So how are we going to change? My interpretation.
Absolutely. But a tool is a tool. That's the starting point. The reason of a tool is to be more powerful than a human. Nobody will sell glasses to see less good. If you build it's to see better. So it's not a surprise that it comes. But nevertheless, despite the power, it remains a tool. It remains a tool, and there is a user. Let's keep the relationship user and tools. That's it. There is no fight, no battle between the two. You have people and tools they use like this.
But will we be different? How will we be in 10, 20 as we move ahead?
Different.
As a consequence of the tools.
We're going to be different. When the screen,
we are different, but we will be.
When I teach, I see in front of me 200 PCs, and I don't see the face because there are. So the good news, there is silence in the amphi.
Except the tick, tick, tick.
Okay, but most of them have different windows at the same time. They open, I don't know, different windows. What's the impact of? It's going to be an impact. When I study with one sheet of paper, never two. It was one. Now they have different. So the impact is obvious, but which impact? I cannot give the answer. Let's be very cautious, and probably we can connect with the prepare forecast. So, and you know that you want to make forecast about the future. No, let's be prepared
for the future.
And but that's what I tell my students and the business. So don't try to spend too much time on forecast. Definitely no, but try to be better prepared for a future you don't know.
Super. Thank you, Luc. The book is published on Peter Lang. There's a question as to whether it's on Amazon.
Yeah,
it is.
It is. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I hope this built appetite for the book, for the thinking. Many other books as well, Luc. I'll go to the last question because I just loved what it came up with. I know you can't read it, but I'll read it. Luc, what is your life philosophy?
Probably to have a project which is impossible to achieve. That's my life. So I do things with no possible ends. The joy of climbing a mountain with no tops.
So it's the journey.
Yeah, definitely. The journey of thinking, definitely.
Yeah.
And also spending a lot of time with the next generation. I'm a grandfather. I love to talk to them. I really love, because they learn me so much. Yeah. My philosophy is just legacy.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I wanna end it there. I thought the question was fabulous. We are 2 minutes on time. If there's a last question coming up, I see a few thank yous, etc., which is wonderful. If there's a last question, we open for that. Otherwise, I'm gonna say the following. For me, Luc means a lot because there are so many frameworks, so many theories, so many things we can talk about, but you need simplifications, ways of thinking of it. So I learn about how to think from you, Luc, and it's a little bit like a forever process. I learn and then I relearn and then I build on it, etc. It's not like I learn, tick it off, now I know. It's much more a forever journey, and I think that's what you said your life philosophy is as well.
And probably you make me think there is a big difference between philosophy and all areas. Psychology deals with emotion, astronomy deals, medicine deals with health. Philosophy has no domain, no area. We don't have a world. No, it's an attitude, not at the same level. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Thank you.
I didn't think about that one.
Thank you so much to all your questions, comments, etc. I really enjoyed it. I always enjoyed discussing with you, Luc.
I enjoy as well.
And I enjoyed, well, I was so grateful for this opportunity to have this discussion. So thank you to all, particular thank you to you, Luc. And yeah, let's keep learning and let's keep thinking and let's be optimistic about the role of humans. We have a
one
big
of
role
the rules
to play.
is never stop thinking.
Super. Thank you so much and be well and take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.